Liam, good to see you, and still recovering from Saturday, no doubt. How do you bottle up the positivity and the atmosphere from Saturday into the game with Coventry this weekend?
I think try and roll it over. I think carry it forward. I thought it was, like I say, it was a roller coaster of a game, but I thought it was obviously one that we're delighted to come out on top of. But great atmosphere, fans were great. I thought it was the energy, especially going 3-2 behind. I thought the fans were terrific and played a huge part in shifting the momentum back in our favour and giving the lads a lift to go and finish the game strongly and get the win that everybody wanted.
You probably in your mind know the team for Saturday, but how hard a decision is it? It's obviously one of the nicest decisions for any coach, picking a team when you've got so many options. But has it been a difficult decision picking your 11 for this game?
I actually haven't yet.
Okay.
I haven't picked the team. It's one I'll sleep on tonight and tomorrow night, and we tend to give the players the team on Friday. So still racking my brains on that one. We'll have a discussion with the staff. Lads have trained really well this week. We obviously had a session down at Ashton Gate today with terrific turnout from the fans again. So we've had another good day today, and I think it's what case lads are off tomorrow in Friday. But I think what you saw with the subs coming on at the weekend, the depth on the bench, we've got really good competition now, which I think the important bit is the lads, whether they play 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 90 minutes, that they're ready to step in and give everything for the team.
Yeah, in rugby they say they're impact players rather than substitutes, and that's the modern football, isn't it? Even if a player's on the bench, as we proved last week, they've got a very important role to play. Yeah,
I find it's something that didn't really get spoken about there. Going from 3 to 5 subs, but it's such a big change in the game for me that we talk about it like on set pieces. You can do all the work on set pieces, but you get to the 80th minute and there might have been 10 changes, which is massive that in terms of organisation, but then also the players being able to problem solve and take ownership on things like set pieces. So that's why the principles of how we work. You have to coach everybody so everybody's clear. It is very much that, and whether it be in game or game to game, players have to be ready to step in and deliver when called upon, and it was a perfect example of that Saturday.
Out of interest, how much of your substitutions are on instinct and how much are pre-planned?
I plan a lot, but I definitely go feeling in game. I think the planning and the preparation just helps you probably have different solutions, different options, and you probably get there a little bit quicker, but it's definitely on feeling. Just before we scored the third, I was ready to bring George and Naki on. Then we scored a third, and it changes in terms of what we do. So you definitely have to go off a bit of gut, a bit of feeling, a bit of instinct. That me and Hoggy have conversations in game. We have them half time before in terms of prepping. Right, the game looks a little bit like this. What might we do? And then you have to go off what the game presents.
Talk to me about the relationship on and off the pitch with both Sinclair and Fally, two strikers, both scoring goals at the start of the season. At times, can they play together, or is it at the moment realistically one or the other?
I wouldn't rule anything out. I think at the minute, we're in a spot where it's working how we're using them. I think really important. I'm going to be really clear. Naki's going to be important in that as well. I know at the minute we're 2 games in, and it's been Fally and Sinclair in the league, but I thought Naki was terrific against Coventry as well. So I think the big bit is that having the quality of the 3 of them, and making sure, like I said, that it tends to be, if you do make changes, top end of the pitch, attacking positions tend to be the ones that, if you're looking for impact or changing momentum in game, it tends to be that end. So I think, like I've spoken a bit about this season, definitely last season, having the options, having the different profiles, having Naki's experience, Sinks' power and pace, and having Fally's cleanliness technically, and also his aerial attributes that he brings us. It puts us in a good spot to be able to, game to game, but in game make changes to strengthen us.
And it's every coach's dream to have 2 players in every position, but with George and now Scott, could they play in the same team together as well, or again, is it one or the other?
It's a new dream. I've not heard that one. I didn't realise it's every coach's dream that. For me, we've worked hard to bring in people that have real clear strengths, but also complement each other's strengths. And I think it's the big bit in football that I think a lot of people look at players individually or sign him, he's a good player, but the bigger bit is how does he then fit? How does he connect with another player? You see it straight away. I think Twiney comes on, the first thing he does at the weekend is put Birdie in behind. So I think it's very much that. How do you get players on the same wavelength? How do you get players' strengths to complement someone else's weaknesses? How do you get them in tune together? And I think that's the bit. I think what we've got, and we've got options. We can change things. We can play people in different positions, but the fundamentals of how we want to play and what we're trying to do doesn't change.
90% of the texts and phone calls we had after Saturday's game gave Max Bird their man of the match. He's obviously hit the ground running. What's his best position, ideally?
I'm not really worried about the position thing, to be fair. I just think he's a top footballer. I think that's the bit, and that's the beauty of him. You same as a few of the lads. You can, saw it with 90 last year. You can play him 10, you can play him low, you could play Birdie wide. I think it's more what qualities he's got, which is the fact that he's intelligent. He's able to transfer information onto the pitch. He's got, a lovely feel for the ball. So for me, it's less on where do I see him best, and probably, fortunate to have someone with his qualities.
Talk to me about the decision to allow Josh to join Cambridge on a season-long loan.
Well, I think it was one we originally, it's quite a big jump up from what, being at Aldershot to then coming in here, and it was one of those we thought, just the change in programme, the intensity, the level of training, the gym work, the demands on the lads is different as you obviously go. So it's a big jump up for him, and it's one we thought, we were probably going to keep him until January originally, just to, give him time to transition, get up to speed. But credit to him, he came in and probably hit a higher level quicker than what we thought. So therefore, actually, trying to bounce momentum from last year, playing games, scoring goals, having that taste of playing in front of a crowd and what 3 points means. We actually made the decision it would actually be best for his development to go out on loan, which was part of the reason why we got George in. We thought, George is someone that can come in, have impact and bring quality, which again we saw a glimpse of that at the weekend. So yeah, that was ultimately the reason for Stokesy.
Yeah, League One's a very strong league this year. Is the hope that in 12 months' time he'll return and be ready for first team action here at Bristol City?
Well, there's a break in January as well. So again, I think it might be January, it might be the end of the season. I think what it does is, I know some of the people at Cambridge are good people there, and it'll be well looked after, and it'll be a terrific opportunity for him to go and prove himself and get games at that level. And then it's obviously a decision, come towards January, right? What's best for him, and what's best for us. And then again, if it's January, if it's the end of the season, obviously that's where we have the conversations. But it'll continually be monitored. I'll stay in touch with him.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of meeting Tom Rawcliffe last week. He told me the keys to the roof weren't shut just yet. Can we anticipate any more incomings or outgoings? The window's still got another week to run. Possibly. You never know in this transfer window, right? It's you get thrown all sorts of curveballs and changes, and so it's one of those. At the minute, we'll have to just wait and see. How's the squad looking? What injuries can you report? Sam Bell, any news on how he's getting on in his recovery?
Yeah, Belly's going to be a little while. It's not a hamstring again, unfortunately. So delving into it, he's not going to need surgery, but he's going to be out for a little bit of time. So disappointed to lose him, given the work he'd done in the off season to try and get back. Ross was back out on the grass, but still quite a way away. It's just really low level stuff. Hugh's getting closer. Expect to see him probably after the international break. So Hugh's definitely getting closer. Rob Atkinson's trained fully this week with us. So we're getting the lads back and getting them into a spot where again it just increases the competition in the group. What significance, if at all, does it facing Coventry just the other week in the cup going into Saturday's game? I think it gives you a bit of an insight into them. I think it gives us a little bit of a feeling of what they might do, what changes they might do, how they might set up the players, the personnel. So I think we made a lot of changes, they made a lot of changes. So you can take bits from the game, but ultimately come Saturday with a league game and it's slightly different. But we've done our work, we're prepared, we'll be good to go.
Yeah, I think playoff finalists a couple of years ago, FA Cup semi-finalists last season. Just talk to me about Coventry as an opposition and the job that Mark Robbins is doing there.
Yeah, incredible job when you look at on pitch, but also off pitch. I know some of the challenges they've faced over the years. I think it speaks volumes. How the club have supported him, and rightly so. He's done a fantastic job. The other bit as well. I think if you look at they had a few players move on and invested heavily off the back of that. So. They spent a really good amount. I think it's kind of shown their ambition. They spent a lot of money to to build a competitive squad and one that I look forward to coming up against on Saturday.
Finally, would you be happy with a boring 1-0 on Saturday after last week's game?
3 points. However it comes, I'm not worried. But ultimately, it's about doing everything in our power to get the 3 points. Thank you.
So with with Rob, that was his second or third full session since he's been back.
Today?
Yeah,
he did a little bit. Yeah, he's done 3 on the trot now. So he did Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So he's come through it well. We finished with 11v11 Were you there today?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, so he had a couple of good races with
He
sinks,
did,
which
yeah.
is obviously always good to see. So the fortunate thing with Rob is he didn't miss forever. So he did most of pre-season. It was obviously one of the latter games where he felt his groin a little bit. So he only missed 2-3 weeks, and within that he'd obviously done some conditioning work as well. So fortunately he's got the base of pre-season behind him, and yeah, he's in a good spot.
Is there a pathway for him, or is it training like 21s? Would you look to get him into 21s game, or is it training?
Possibly, yeah. There's one at home on Monday against Crewe with the 21s, so he might feature in that. We'll have a look at the squad Saturday and what does that look like, and he's got his plan in place, but obviously you sometimes deviate from that a little bit. So yeah, we'll have a look.
Going back to the selection conundrum, which I'm sure over the next couple of days training, I know you're off tomorrow, but you'll get a better idea. Obviously Scott came on in a slightly towards the left position, but it was interesting because he wasn't as wide as Anis had been, because you obviously got Cam overlap. So I'm obviously, because moving Max how he plays, and I know you're not going to answer any of this, but if you indulge me to an extent. But obviously Max played so well there.
Yeah.
You can't move him, can you? But I appreciate you'd like to get Scott in place. So is there an opportunity for him, and even you mentioned Max playing wide, that whilst they are central playmakers, if you like, they can operate in those areas as well because of the fluidity you have as in terms of the system?
Yeah.
Yes. Because
no,
obviously when he was
yeah.
at Hull, the
Yeah.
big problem was he was a little bit stuck out on the left, because I think
Yeah.
Liam there tried to kind of shoehorn a lot in there. But
I think the biggest way that we work, and I think the most important thing, is to get players in positions to bring their strengths. And I think we're quite clear. I want the lads to step on the pitch and be clear with the structure to how we work, but really important that there's fluidity and freedom off of that. And the lads know in terms of spaces that we try and fill and play, areas we try and occupy. And I think it's then a case of getting people in positions to bring their attributes, what they're good at. So we can. That's the good thing about the group we've got, but also the way we work structurally, that you can get people in positions, but then you can rotate it as well and give them that freedom to then still go and express themselves and find spaces to hurt the opposition. And that's the big bit. Like I said about Birdie, I think Twine's the same, where he's an intelligent footballer, so his game needs to be about finding space and about getting on the ball to cause havoc and cause chaos for the opposition and create and take risks and have impact in attacking areas. So whether he does it from wide or whether he does it central, it's about getting him into a position to bring him.
And I guess the fact he's worked with you before here and at MK as well, that he doesn't have much homework to do in terms of what's the requirement. I mean, you saw that on Saturday. It almost like he'd been in the team all pre-season, how sort of seamlessly he slotted in, and his awareness of his teammates, which is obviously a big thing on him. But how much of that was kind of the work he'd already done here?
Yeah, a big chunk. It's why I was really keen to get him in. I think such a important and big, such a big thing. Someone coming in having relationships with the players. Lads knowing already immediately they can trust him with the ball in tight areas and be brave to play in, knowing that he has a touch, looks forward. You can run because the ball's going to come. So again, I think in terms of him hitting the ground running, it's calculated, it's planned. It was really important from that perspective. And for me, I think I had a chat with him. He was quite clear. Us being here as well was that the club, obviously the impact, but also us as staff. And I'd like to think we've previously done a good job of getting the best out of him. I think that when you look at it, it ticks so many boxes and made sense for him, for us, for the club in so many areas, which ultimately is I think why for me is a really good bit of business.
And then the overall sort of midfield in terms of Max, because did he play much out wide for Derby? Has he played there?
No, mainly he played 10, he played 6 and he played 8, so he's through the middle predominantly, but he covered all those. He played deep, he played high, and he did box to box, he did a bit of everything.
It was interesting speaking to him on Saturday, because he said a lot about structure and how that third goal, because he didn't even look at Fally, did he?
No.
He knew he was there because of the shape. And you worked so much on off the ball shape last season. Was on the ball shape kind of a big focus this summer, because you have the off kind of at a more appropriate level to what you wanted?
I have to say that after conceding 3 goals at the
Well,
weekend.
yeah, that's
I don't know. We've done a huge amount of work on the attacking. We were quite clear. I think we still have to do a huge amount on the defending. We have to revisit. We have to refine. We have to. I want to keep clean sheets because if you keep clean sheets, you're competitive. You're in games. So let's be clear. I don't want to be winning 4-3 every week. I think it's really important that you've got to have solid defensive foundations. But we have done a huge amount of work on the attacking stuff. Some of it's revisiting. Some of it's. And again, the biggest amount of credit for me goes on the players. And I think, when you get to the end of the season and how we work, as I've said to you before, there's so much information we give them, so much content that, having that break and being able to switch off and consolidate and reflect on it without the pressure of a Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, or even a Saturday in training, just being able to step away. Sometimes it just sinks in. And again, I think what you've seen is, one, we've added different profiles and different qualities in attacking areas, but also, the lads that were here last year in terms of, everyone will talk about Max and Fally for the third goal, but the pass from George and his touch when he opens out is terrific. And that's stuff that we did last year and we worked on last year. So again, I think it's a culmination of numerous bits. The mad bit is I actually thought we created more and got in better areas against Hull and Coventry than we probably did against Millwall. But we had the detail, the care, and the quality to execute the final action. So for me, we'll keep working it. We'll keep pushing. We know. We'll have good days, we'll have bad days, but it's about what we do, daily out there and making sure that we reflect and learn on when it's good, but also when it's not so good.
You mentioned the defending there in clean sheets and not winning 4-3s. That time period, the 10 to 15 just after half time, you conceded, of the good goals you conceded last season, quite a decent proportion was during that time. I'm sure you're aware of the numbers. How much of a concern is that for you?
Not really. I think I watched it back actually, and if you look at it, the first 5 minutes of the second half were excellent. It was actually around 50, which, when you look at it, it's like lapse in concentration, and at this level, as you know, it can quickly end up in the back of your net. The second one, less said the better on that one, and then the third one's just again a lapse in concentration again. So I think it's bits. Yeah, we had a meeting. We reviewed it on Monday. We looked at that 15-minute period. And then we looked at the good attacking stuff as well. So, and that's what probably pleased me at the weekend. It's quite easy when you're 3-2 down, having been 2-0 up, to kind of go under and capitulate a little bit and fold. But that's why again talk about the fans, but also the lads in terms of really stepping up. And it wasn't. I think there's a sweet spot. You can end up forcing it, or you can become a bit passive because Mill will let you have the ball a little bit. And what I liked about it is we kind of stuck to doing us, but we had real purpose to it. Switched it, if you look at the third goal leading into it, we probably switched it 4 or 5 times. I think it was 20 something passes before we actually, had the bit at the end of it. So again, I think it wasn't like and I've said it to the lads a lot, it takes hardly any time whatsoever, seconds to score a goal. So just because you go 3-2 behind, stay calm emotionally and keep pushing. And that credit to the players. I thought they did a terrific job of that.
So the conceding aspect, you don't draw any links with half time in terms of the intensity of the first 45, you get back in the dressing room, and then, because obviously you had the Sims goal, and I know there's extra context to that in terms of the changes they make off the bench, that kind of thing, but generally Coventry were sort of on top to a point when that happened. So you don't draw any links in terms of the break in play and then coming back out, and there's...
I thought we started excellently against Hull. If you watch the whole game back, I thought we were excellent start of the second half. It's always naturally, right? If you come out and if you look at Coventry, we were the more dominant side first half. The weekend, obviously, more dominant side. I think what you naturally then get is a response from the opposition where, we had no idea. We didn't expect Millwall to change style or change tactics or, do anything massively different. Just expecting them to be a bit more aggressive, be a bit more direct, run a little bit harder in a response to, probably a bit of a stern team talk at half time. And it's then right. How do you see that period through? Which actually, for the first 5 minutes, like I said, if you do watch it back at the weekend, the first 5 minutes was in their half. We had a passage where we got a throw in right near the penalty area for 5 minutes, and then it's, like I said, it's in that lapse. So of course, it's something that we're constantly looking at, something that we don't want to repeat, of course. But at the same point, again, I don't see it as a huge issue.
And because of the how it happened, the drama, all the kind of the volume and everything, with the result on Saturday, it almost kind of got overlooked that Millwall massively retreated after 3-2. They almost went into kind of that the low block that proved a bit of a struggle last season. did you take a lot of that away from the game and how you managed to break that down?
Yeah, really pleased with that. I thought, the combinations, the running, you look at the fourth goal as well, a moment of real quality. Lovely set from George, great delivery from Joe, which I know, when you look at the week before, Joe's disappointment, he's had the low of Hull, and then he, rightly so, should take the plaudits, and the highs of putting in a fantastic cross, for the winner at the weekend. So, the lads are definitely getting better at that area. And again, credit, I think, the elements of them retreating, but us also with, the way we've controlling games now, forcing them back into a deeper block, and then having the patience, the quality, the understanding of how to break it down, and that's a bit that's taken time, and that it's by no means a finished article. Understanding how you do it, the perception is because you've got loads of the ball, and you saw it in the Euros this summer, right? So many teams sitting off, defending, blocking. It's really hard to break that down. You might have the ball, but it doesn't mean it's going to lead to chances all the time.
Just finally, transfer market wise, back to that.
My favourite topic.
Yes. If something, because it seems reading between the lines, it's basically one of them where if something becomes available, it might happen. The chances are it might not, but something might happen. Would that be a permanent or would it be a loan?
No idea.
Okay, so basically
it's one of those. We're not. You have to be patient. You have to wait, but the squad's in a really good spot where we're not desperate to do anything. We don't have to go and do anything. I think it's more a case of if anyone that we really feel is going to enhance what we're doing, or someone that whether it be a permanent, someone that we think's going to impact us, in the short and the medium term, then we'll work hard to try and do what's best for the club and the team. But like I said, at the minute, if the window is shut to tomorrow, the squad's in a good spot. But of course, it's all about raising the bar. It's all about pushing a higher standard. It's all around, increasing the levels, which we want to continue doing.
And with Josh going, is there a potential for any further exits?
Possibly, but again, I wouldn't say there's anything definite at the minute. So yeah, it would be a case of wait and see.
Thanks, Liam.
Thank you.